welcome to People of Pedal. We are creating some videos here to get to know the folks who are behind the scenes at Pedal at our Portage and Kalamazoo location. My name is Lauren, and I'm here with Dave today. We both work at our Portage job. Hi, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
All right. Sounds good. Whew, thrilled. Great. All right. So I've got a few questions for you. I'm wondering, first off, what's your role at Pedal?
Primarily one of the mechanics, techs as they say there.
Yeah.
But yeah, fix bikes and make them work the way they're supposed to.
We love that. We love that. Where did your love of bikes begin? Where did that all start?
I have a hard time thinking of when I wasn't into bikes. You know, of course, as a kid learning them, but then eventually as a kid started wrenching on them and messing with them. But then I was also, interestingly enough, the bike boom was going on when I was a kid, the 70s bike boom. And I remember seeing people touring and doing the cross-country tours and stuff like that, loaded up, and somehow that captured my imagination. Plus, it was just fun to go out in the countryside and ride around, explore, you know. And so it was kind of a all-encompassing thing. I loved wrenching on them. I liked riding them. I liked, you know, pretty much everything about them. Plus, I just thought they were cool.
Plus what?
I just thought they were cool.
Yeah. All right. I like that. Very good. So I guess if things started back when you were a kid, then how did you eventually get involved in the bike industry? Sounds like you were wrenching at a young age, but how did that kind of transform into being in the industry of bikes?
So when I was in college up in Grand Rapids, I had a summer job at Bikes Etc. And so that was kind of my first working experience at a bike shop, you know. And so I worked there for a little while, you know, and then eventually worked at Breakaway, you know, and from time to time I would go there and work for brief periods to fill in when my other job work would slow down enough for people to get laid off. So Paul would take me in and I would keep myself busy until, you know, my real job would kick in again. And
all right. Yeah. Yeah. So then eventually, how did you get set up at Pedal?
So for a bunch of years, I was working as an illustrator, and I finally just got kind of burned out on it. And talking to Paul, shortly before Tim bought Pedal, I was talking to Paul, and he was lamenting that he was losing one of his people. And I was kind of thinking about moving away from the illustration field and probably into the bike field. And so I talked to Paul, and he was agreeable to bring me on. So there I was. So Tim inherited me when he took over this shop.
Very nice. And I see this might be an illustration setup that we see here. Yeah, nice.
I still do it.
All right. Right on. Cool. Let's see. So you're still wrenching at our shop. What is something that you really enjoy about wrenching on bikes? Or I guess, like, what's your favorite thing to do?
Pretty much anything that is like pure mechanics, you know, you know, and that's for the most part what bicycles are. There's not a whole lot of chemistry or electronics going on with them. They're pure machines. So I enjoy that aspect of them. I have always been fascinated by the structure of the bicycle wheel itself, and so I really enjoy building bike wheels and dealing with them, you know, lacing them up and truing them, and you know, the amount of strength that for the individual components are so flimsy and light, but you put them all together and put them under stress, and they become incredibly strong. in the direction that they were designed to take a load. So they're kind of amazing structures.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a bit of an art form working on those as well, I think.
A bit, yeah.
A bit. Yeah. Oh, all right. I guess moving on to your experience on bikes, what does a what does your dream bike ride look like?
Wandering off into the countryside and just finding roads that I've never been down and going
Mm.
down those. Um, yeah, of course, it would be a sunny day and the countryside would be green. And
Right?
and I've
Like
found lots of roads that are all new. And
like a 3 mile an hour headwind or not headwind, 3 mile an hour breeze, something like. Well, so then what, I guess that kind of leads us into a peak of what kind of riding you do like, but what kind of riding are you most into? Road, gravel, mountain?
all of it, primarily road, just because I don't have to drive anywhere to do it. I just go.
Mm.
Um, and then most of my rides are both gravel and pavement. So if I
Mm.
see gravel roads, I mean, all of my bikes that I would ride on the road are handle gravel just fine. And so,
Mm.
if I see a gravel road that goes in the direction that I'm kind of interested in, I'll take it. And
Yeah.
um, so all options are open. So I like them both. I like, gravel and pavement. It's all good. You
Yeah.
know, the roads are cool because they actually go places. Kind of your options are unlimited, really. So it's
Mm.
one of the things I like about the road too.
Mm. Definitely. And I think a lot of folks are enjoying gravel these days and kind of getting into a little bit more exploring, and bike technology is changing that way to help people do that. So that's super
Yeah,
fun.
current bikes deal with gravel so well
Mm.
that it used to be pretty uncomfortable to ride a gravel road. But current bikes deal with it, and so it is a viable option now.
Mm. For sure.
And it's definitely a lot quieter. Usually the scenery is a little bit better because it's a
Mm.
little more wild. And then the surface has a little more interest to it, so you get a little bit of the mountain bike thrill, although you're not doing all the turns and swoopy fun stuff that you
Yeah.
would be doing on a mountain bike. But
Some different elements to your road riding, I suppose,
yeah,
right? Adding
there's
into that.
texture there.
Yeah, texture. Yeah, and gosh, these days with it being spring at the moment, all the animals are coming out, all the wildlife. It's like everything's become awake again. It's pretty fun to see that out on the dirt roads.
Yeah, turtles are on the logs and the spring
Yeah,
keep it
yeah, it seems
lively.
but you also do a lot of commuting.
I
So has
do.
that been something you, as an illustrator, that you have been doing for a long time, or just to and from the bike shop?
Mostly to and from the bike shop. When I had a regular day job in the illustration field, I
Mm.
was commuting there, and then of course for a lot of years I was freelancing, so my commute was down into the basement, so no bikes for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like bicycle commuting for a lot of reasons. One, it feels like a free bike ride. I got to go to work anyway, so I might as well take a bike and get a ride out of the deal.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like it's my little part to fight pollution and global warming, not to get up on a high
Mm.
horse or anything, but it's, you know, I believe that if more people rode bikes to work, the
Mm.
problem would be lessened a little bit at least.
Yeah,
So,
that's stellar. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Well, I think it's time to move on to our rapid fire round.
all right.
All right, so you can answer, I mean, one word questions or one word answers is fine, but if you want to elaborate, that's cool. Whatever comes to your mind. All right, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, number one, disc or rim brakes?
I'm kind of partial to rim brakes still.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, steel or carbon fiber?
Whew, I
Whew.
mean, that's a tough one. I mean, most of my bikes are actually aluminum. So
Maybe I'm not so.
mostly for me, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
All
steel and
right.
aluminum are recyclable, so they got that going for them.
Nice. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, a hard group ride or a long day of touring?
Probably a long day of touring. You know, it's mostly what I do, solo riding. So,
Hmm. And loading up your bike, panniers or frame bags?
um, I don't do that kind of touring,
Mm.
but for commuting, I tend to do it with panniers.
Mm.
Um, if I'm going out for a long solo ride, I do have an oversized seat bag that I'll use, and so that is nice. It's a little more efficient, a little more aerodynamic, and it
Mm.
holds plenty of stuff for a long day ride that I can be self-sufficient. So
Perfect. And tubes or tubeless?
I am doing tubes these days.
Mm.
I've tried tubeless. Pretty much all the bikes that I own that I would run tubeless on don't see enough regular use. They're not the
Mm.
commuters, and so the tubeless just doesn't. You know, it's a little higher maintenance. But if I were racing, it would definitely be tubeless. But I don't race, so I am using super lightweight tubes. So
Nice. Easy to throw the tubes in and just leave it at that and not have to deal with the
yeah,
extra. Yeah, yeah. And one more question. As our commuter in the shop or one who commutes a lot, commuting in the rain or driving instead?
depends on the temperature. If it's warm
Yeah.
enough, I'll probably commute in the rain. I got the gear for it. My bike has fenders. I have rain gear, so it's not really. It's more of a mental block than once I suit up and get out there, it's really not as bad as you would think. So it's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. All right.
But
Well,
if it's
Dave,
really cold out, it can get sketchy.
yeah, I think that's probably the worst for me is I can do cold weather and I can do hard rain, but the combination is brutal.
Well, it can get dangerous too if you're out on a long ride. I've
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. All right, Dave. Well, you've been great. It's been great to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
well,
Good
thank
stuff.
you. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time, Dave.
Adios.